It's a real pleasure to be here with you today because I'm going to talk to you about Southern Sensibilities. I'm going to talk to you about my story about Southern Sensibilities. When I was 18 years old, I went to Hilton Head Island. It was a summer between my freshman and sophomore year, and I was there teaching tennis and waiting tables. And as Billy Bob said, I'm from Collins, and I had a fairly thick Southern accent, and I would use Southern vernacular phrases like fixin' to and over yonder and look here and, the y'all factor. And as life would have it, I fell in with a group of other people that were there working, but they were all from Northeastern boarding schools. And they were attending Amherst and Brown and Williams College, and I was at the University of Georgia. And I love these guys. I had a great time with them. They were very embracing, but they made fun of me. And they made fun of the way I talked. And they made fun of my Southern colloquialisms. And for the first time really in my life, it dawned on me that the way other people from around the country perceived the South was quite different from what I perceived the South as. They thought that we were less enlightened. They thought that we were less informed. They thought that we were slower talking, slower thinking, less educated. They thought of the South as being somewhat racist, which I don't think was true then, and I certainly don't think it's now. And they thought it was a place where there was much greater poverty. And things have changed. The world perceives the South differently. And the title of this is Southern Momentum, and I think the momentum has gravely changed, it's shifted. And all we have to do is look around at the growth that's occurring now, the growth throughout the Southeast. Think about Nashville, Tennessee, or Atlanta, Georgia, or Charlotte, or even Asheville, or Charleston, or Savannah. Everybody has explosive growth. It's quite remarkable. They thought we were less bright and less innovative. Well, what about Austin, Texas, and what's going on now with technology and innovation there? Or Atlanta, Georgia, with Georgia Tech, and what's going on with CNN and the CDC. It's quite remarkable. Or the Research Triangle and all the things that are going on there. It's quite remarkable. I think part of the reason that we might have done as well as we've done here in the last several years is because we have a bit of what I would call a late start advantage. And by that, I mean a lot of businesses didn't want to invest in the South back then. They didn't think that it was a great place to be investing. And so during the go-go years of real estate development, what occurred is the buildings didn't get torn down. And now we have this huge inventory of beautiful buildings. And when preservation and restoration came into vogue and became popular in the 70s and the 60s, we had this great inventory of buildings. So we've been able to preserve our culture and our heritage and our traditions, and it's quite uplifting. In fact, I would go so far as to say that now it's hip to be from the South. It really is. Think about Southern music and what goes on with the Southern culinary scene. What's going on all around with Garden and Gun magazine or the Savannah College of Art and Design or the University of Georgia or Vanderbilt or UNC or Chapel Hill. Everybody's paying attention to the South now, and it's really great. Businesses now want to locate in the South. And when I was preparing this, I thought, why is it the businesses really want to be here? And think about it. A business that's quintessentially a Southern business is Chick-fil-A. So some of the convenience store business, we certainly pay a lot of attention to fast feeders. But Chick-fil-A has really done something where they are sling-blading through all the competition, aren't they? Yeah. And they don't just say thank you, they say it's a pleasure. And they're using Southern hospitality while they're selling Southern food. It's remarkable. But think about the other businesses. Think about what's going on with BMW in the Greenville area, and Porsche, and Toyota. All the businesses, FedEx, Delta Airlines, even Boeing that's in Charleston. All these businesses are gravitating to the South. And I think there's a real reason for that. We have not been impaired with the huge debt that other governments and other states have. We're not impaired with unsustainable pension plans. And we haven't had the labor unions that have done what they've done. So I serve on the board of the Savannah Economic Development Authority. And one of the things I've seen is when people send other companies here to look and see if they'd like to locate, of course we roll out the red carpet, but we show them Southern hospitality. It really is something that's very much a part of the South. And when people live here, they think, gosh, I love those people. They were so charming and they were so engaging, and I want to be a part of this. So I think we, inclusive, the South, is doing a lot to attract these businesses that are coming here and doing great things. I think we also have these tailwinds that are just lifting us up, and they're driven by several things, but one of those things is we have great weather. We know that, so that brings people that want to be here. But it's also our Southern sensibilities and our charm. It's all the things that we have that create stickiness with the people that want to be a part of the South and enjoy our Southern heritage and our Southern culture. You know, I think in the South our handshakes mean something. I think that our character means something. Our word really is our bond. And so as a result, businesses like doing business in the South because we really believe those things and we live those things. Like many of you in the audience, you've been able to travel in Europe. And as I've gotten older, I've been able to do that too. And when I go to Europe and I take my children, Europeans kind of take note and they say, wow, this is something. And they like Southerners, and here's why I think they do. We're a little more formal. We value tradition and culture and a sense of belonging, a sense of place. We like to linger over a meal. We enjoy the art of conversation. But we also really hold tight to manners. And so one of the things we know with all of us as we travel around the United States and in Europe and other places, when my son stands up at a table when a lady comes to sit down or opens a door for a lady, or my daughters and my son say, yes, ma'am, and no, sir, and please, and thank you, it really means something. People take note, and they think it's great. So when I think back to being at Hilton Head Island when I was 18, I felt somewhat ashamed and somewhat embarrassed. I was embarrassed of the perception that the world had of the South. I don't think it was a fair assessment, but that's what it was. And many of you in this audience know that's the case. We're not as bright, not as well educated, whatever. But today, things have changed. And I think it's time for us to stand up with great pride and take pride in the fact that we are from the South and that we embody these things where relationships really matter, where manners really matter, where we really try to look out for other people and take care of them. How we live our lives. You know, we like being surrounded by beauty. And Pat Conroy wrote a book called Lords of Discipline. And in that book, the protagonist was named Will McLean. And Will McLean said, I love this thing that y'all have, this beauty disease. It's great, and I'm going to spend the rest of my life trying to effectuate this disease that you have. Well, I think we all have it. We like being surrounded by beauty. We like beautiful architecture and beautiful gardens. We like treating people beautifully. We cultivate our friendships, and we hold on to them, and we protect them mightily. So let's wear our Southern sensibilities with a sense of pride. Let's really think hard and deeply about our Southern roots because they're important. I think we're fixing to take over the world. Don't you know? And all of you know what to do. Thank you.